Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most famous books ever written, Don Quixote. And we're going to uncover a wild, 400-year-old literary trick that basically changed storytelling forever.
Okay, so imagine this. We're jumping right into the middle of a sword fight. You've got our hero, Don Quixote, and this fearsome Basque opponent. Swords are raised, they're about to land the final, killing blow.
And then nothing. Seriously. The author, Cervantes, just cuts the story right off. He literally stops mid-fight, leaving us, the reader, and even the narrator inside the book, totally hanging. Can you imagine?
Well, this sudden cliffhanger sends the narrator into a total panic. He's just so worried. I mean, how could the amazing story of such a great knight just be left hanging like that, all mangled and incomplete?
But this is where Cervantes pulls off something absolutely brilliant. See, instead of just picking the story back up, he makes his narrator go on a quest to find the rest of it. He turns us, the readers, into detectives right alongside him.
And the solution comes from just pure dumb luck. The narrator's wandering through a market in Toledo, and he spots a boy selling a bunch of old notebooks written in Arabic. He buys them, finds someone to translate, and then he sees it. A little note in the margin that says, Dulcinea del Toboso. And he knows he's just struck literary gold. And here is the trick. Get this. Cervantes, the guy who actually wrote the book, claims he's not the author at all. He says he's just the editor of a true history that was really written by this fictional Arab historian named Said Hamet bin Enjeli. So, by pretending the whole book is just some historical document he found, Cervantes is totally messing with our ideas of what's real and what's fiction. It was completely groundbreaking back then. You know, it's kind of like a modern-day found footage movie, presenting a made-up story as if it's a real thing someone just discovered. So, with this newly translated manuscript in hand, our narrator can finally tell us how that epic sword fight ends. The really long pause is over, and we are right back in the middle of it. And let me tell you, the end of this fight is just brutal. The Basque gets the first hit, smashes Quixote's helmet, and slices off part of his ear. But Quixote's comeback? It's even crazier. He grabs his sword with two hands and brings it down with the force of a mountain, leaving the other guy bleeding from his nose, mouth, and ears. But here's the thing. Instead of finishing him off, Quixote does the most Don Quixote thing ever. He spares his life. But of course there's a catch. The guy has to promise to go to the village of El Toboso and present himself to Quixote's imaginary girlfriend, Dulcinea. And the second that fight is over, the hilarious, incredible dynamic between Don Quixote and his squire, Sancho Panza, just immediately kicks into high gear. I mean, the dust hasn't even settled yet, and Sancho runs up asking to be made governor of the island he thinks they just won. This tells you everything you need to know about these two. Sancho is here for the real-world prizes, but Quixote, he's just living in his own chivalric fantasy. So Quixote kind of has to bring his squire back down to earth. He explains that this was just a roadside adventure, and the only prize you usually get from those is, a broken head or a missing ear, not a whole kingdom. And their two totally different ways of seeing the world are just perfectly captured by what happens next. Quixote's ear is bleeding, right? So Sancho, the practical one, offers him some lint and ointment. But Quixote, he's complaining that he hasn't made his magical balsam of furibracia yet. A potion he says is so powerful it could put a man back together even if he's been chopped in half. While Sancho is completely sold on this magic potion idea, he immediately says he'll give up his dream of being a governor if he can just get the recipe. He's already calculating how much money he could make selling the stuff. Talk about a get-rich-quick scheme. And this fundamental disagreement, this clash between crazy idealism and down-to-earth realism, it affects every single thing they do on their journey. I mean, everything.
So when Quixote finally looks at his smashed-up helmet, does he just think, oh well, I'll get a new one? No way. He makes this huge, dramatic vow, based on some other story he read, to live a life of penance until he can steal a better helmet from another knight in a battle. And Sancho, bless his heart, is the voice of reason. He immediately starts poking holes in this ridiculous plan. He's like, sir, these roads are full of mule drivers, not knights in armor. He knows this vow is just going to lead to them being super uncomfortable for absolutely no reason.
Even a simple meal turns into this big debate. They've got bread, cheese, and an onion. Quixote says it's an honor for knights to barely eat, to survive on whatever's around. Sancho's argument?
Well, I'm not a knight, so I should be allowed to pack some real food for myself.
And this really shows you how they see the world in completely opposite ways. When they can't find a village to sleep in for the night, Sancho is bummed out. But Don Quixote? He's thrilled. For him, sleeping under the stars isn't a failure, it's a win. It's more proof that he's a real, true knight-errant.
So in the end, this brilliant game that Cervantes plays with the author and the narrator and the true historian, it leaves us with this one big question about storytelling itself. He's asking us, what do we really value more? The literal hard facts? Or the deeper truths about being human that a completely made-up story can show us?